Hollywood has depicted marriage and relationship in a particular way. And so many of us, starting with Disney, have bought into this sort of fairy tale idea that when you find your person, all your problems go away. But it's actually the opposite. When you find your person, that's when all your stuff gets mirrored. That's when all of your wounds get expanded and you can see them. I thought I was the dopest person in the world until I met my wife. Then the jealousy and the anger and the all that started to show up. And I'll never forget, I tell this story in my workshop often around social and historical programming, because we started living together, I think it was 2014, 2015. And we had this apartment in Venice Beach, and I used to surf all the time in the morning. So I would never be with her in the mornings. But this particular time, there was no waves. And so for like a week, I'd wake up with her, and we used to do this thing called a snuggle alarm, where we'd wake up. The first alarm was for us to find each other and snuggle. And then 30 minutes later was when we'd actually get up. And this really cool, hilarious thing happened where we would go brush our teeth together. And she would put like Colgate commercial type toothpaste on her thing. And you ever been with somebody and they do something that makes you cringe on the inside?
Sure.
Right? It's like, I love this woman, I want to marry her, and I want to drop kick her right now. So every time she'd squeeze the toothpaste and then do that thing, I'd be like, that's $8. That's $8 right there. I'm going to have to buy new toothpaste tomorrow. It's over, right? And this is all happening internally, bro. I'm not saying anything to her, but it's happening, right? And so my body is going into this, fear, stress response every time we brush our teeth together. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, this isn't mine. My mom, an accountant, epic woman, one of the most loving, epic humans you will ever meet. My mom grew up in a scenario in Watts, California, where she didn't eat all the time, where there's like 8 people in one tiny house. And so she said, if I ever have kids, I'm moving my kids out of the ghetto, and I'm making sure we never go back to that. And she did that. My mom nailed it. The issue was that she made us think that we were always poor and one paycheck away from like living on the streets. And so the consciousness of scarcity was living in my body. When I was 10, she'd say, do you want $5 for lunch? And I'd say, no, just give me 2. I was that kid. No, I'll just take 2. No, I'll just eat 1 sandwich. I don't need chips. Like that, right? So it's like this scarcity thing. So now fast forward, I'm a, 34-year-old man with this woman that I want to marry. And every time she puts the toothpaste on, I want to murder her, right? And so this is some of the, it's a death. It's a melding of the consciousness. And she had an, of course, in her body around toothpaste, and she had an abundance, of course. While I had a scarcity, of course, around toothpaste and shampoo and the things like she'd wash her hair and she'd put like 90% of the bottle in her hand. I'm like, what are you doing? This is going to cost us. Now, the second piece of it is in the way society is set up, men feel and have been taught and shown that a part of your worth is in providing. Now, how we're shown is providing is financial. Providing is strength and financial. And so every time she was using the shampoo or the toothpaste, even though she had more money than me, in my mind, that was me who was going to pay for that. And so it's all these constructs that we needed to break and look at and relook at and choose for our marriage, not outside. This is what other people have handed us. What do we want this to be? What is our marriage? By the way, that story I told you about us, we got a divorce 2 years ago, an energetic divorce. We burned the rings. I went and bought a new ring. I proposed again. And we've been together 11 years, but we divorced ourselves from that old relationship. We no longer chose that one. And we chose back in with our new set of vows and our new understanding of what this was going to be.
It was like an immediate divorce remarrying situation, or did you guys take space?
It took some time.
Yeah.
It took some time. But we stayed together and we still loved each other and we still were moving through it. That relationship had reached its expiration.
Mm-hmm. Who you were being for each other, for yourselves.
That. And I think you know this, but statistically, people who have kids, usually there's 67% of people who have children break up within the first year of having that child. We have 4 of them.
You had four chances.
Yes, there's lots of opportunities.
It's like 260% or something.
Exactly. And yet we're still here. And not just still here, we're thriving, bro. I love that woman with every fiber of my being. And it is literally it is such a beautiful thing to grow with somebody, right? I know what gets glorified is this like young, polyamorous, conscious, like, we bang everybody and we go to Burning Man all the time. And like, yes, that's awesome. And
in some communities, a lot of places in the U.S. in certain niche spiritual polyamorous communities. Yes,
I'm making this fun.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but
course.
like there is something so beautiful about 2 people getting to know each other in the most minute, interesting way, and then letting go of who you thought that person was, even from the day before.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. The moment I think I know my wife, our relationship is over in that moment. Because there's no space for her, for growth, for creativity, for her womanhood to show up differently. When we were having a hard time, I had her frozen in her history. And even the history wasn't true. It was partially true. It was from my lens, from my perspective. And my, what's that thing in your brain that filters things in and out? My reticular activating system was creating problems where there were none. Dude, relationships, top tier, best workshop you can ever do. I did ayahuasca 31 times in Topanga, right? Just get in a relationship. That's the same as ayahuasca at some level if you stay in.